Now tonight, the U.S. has officially entered the Israel and Iran conflict. And joining us, we have Arif Halaby, a national security expert. Thanks so much for joining us, Arif. So, look, there have been diplomatic conversations for really more than 2 months. And Trump goes on and says he's going to take a couple of weeks before he decides what to do. But he does act within just 2 days. Now, is that something, I'm curious, it was just maybe just misleading or to try to deceive Iran? Or did something else happen that changed his opinion and his mind?
Yeah, I think a couple of things happened, Julie, and you've got it right on when you say that the president kind of gave him a little bit of warning, but that was in 60 days. For 60 days, they had a chance to come to the table. This is not a surprise. I mean, we understand that Iran has its design on trying to become the powerful broker in the Middle East. That's understandable, but there is nobody to take Iran's place as the leader in the Middle East because Saudi Arabia is not going to take that role, nor is Kuwait. Certainly Iraq is not. Syria has been neutered. So there really isn't a place for any other leader in that area. And Iran is thinking, well, maybe they're going to have to take a step back. We'll see.
Well, Trump also says that the mission was a success, that he took out their most lethal nuclear site. Also, Israel saying that, look, they set him back a couple of years, but there's still a lot of targets left, according to Trump. Just how dangerous could those be that do remain?
Yeah, remember the nuclear sites themselves have housing units on base there. And I don't hear anybody talking about that. There's actually places where people live, they work. There's little mini towns, if you will, not too far away because it's difficult to get to within a day's notice. So they'll work long shifts there. And some of them may still have family members that were there. I'm sure they were evacuated, but maybe not. And so when you think about the attacks that occurred at those nuclear facilities, the prized possession are the scientists and the hard water. Between the scientists, the hard water, and the already uranium that's enriched, by the way. But that's about it. Other than that, all of the other materials, it's steel, it's plastic, it's roads and bridges, et cetera, to get there. It's not really that difficult to harden out and to take out. I think President Trump has made it very clear that he does not want a nuclear Iran. Look, there's a difference between the Arab world, which my father is a part of, I'm half Lebanese, and the Persian world, which encompasses everything east of Iran and the Iraq border. And it's this: Iraq, Arabs, we talk. Our goal is to make you believe something that maybe that is not true. The Persian culture, the Iranian culture is not the same. They will tell you, we will bomb you on Tuesday, and they will bomb you on Tuesday. They say, if we have a nuclear weapon, we will destroy Israel. There is no secret to the way they believe or what they think. And people have to understand, if they were to have a nuclear weapon, why didn't they just say, hey, listen, we're using it for peaceful purposes, or we're not going to have it? Now, look, they tried that. Nobody believed them. So they lost.
So do we think that the nuclear threat is basically all gone in Iran at this point?
5 years is what I expect. 5 years is at least where we are now. And this is important because we've always kicked the can down the road. President Trump is not going to do this tit for tat. Remember, Iran was responsible for the 1980s bombing in Lebanon, in Beirut, of the Marine barracks, in addition to all of the other roadside bombings, the funding of Hezbollah, the Houthis kidnapping and stealing tankers and oil tankers and other attacking cruise ships and other shipping in that area, the Horn of Africa, et cetera. But this is a big deal between the crazies that they support between Hezbollah and Hamas and themselves when they export terrorism. I think you have to look at this and say, this is a long coming result from the United States based on one thing and one thing only. Iran does not like the American government or its people or its military. We'll see what they do. I expect them to not do anything. I expect them to come out with a lot of words, because if we leave Iran too vulnerable, and that's a big if, where's the line? How many more ballistic missiles before they don't have enough to defend themselves? How many more ballistic missiles before that they send off to Israel or to other parts of the Middle East before they become an irrelevant party? There's a lot of military men and women and bases in the area. My numbers are 19 different bases is what I've found out. Out of those 19 different bases in a 1,200-mile radius, a lot of those men and women in our U.S. Armed Forces are prepared. They're ready. If Iran launches one, we will shut down their economy. We will shut down their government. And I'm telling you right now, we know where the Khamenei is. We know where he lives. We know where he sleeps. We know where his family is. This is not going to be pretty for them. They need to take their losses and go away.
I mean, there's a little bit of reassurance in that, at least because they did say that they will retaliate. It would be very, very dangerous if the U.S. did get involved, which, of course, that has now taken place. But look, Trump also said that they must make peace or tragedy for Iran. Do you believe that peace can be made at this point?
I believe they can. Look, we've been able to flip Libya. I mean, it took the killing of Gaddafi, but we've been able to flip countries. Remember when Gaddafi bombed, I think it was Pan Am, if they were involved. But President Reagan sent in a missile, maybe a couple of them, killed Gaddafi's son, and that was it. They gave up all of their nuclear ambitions. They stopped becoming a sponsor of terrorism for many, many years, decades, in fact. And we didn't have a problem with them anymore. I think Iran could come to the party again. It's an amazing culture, brilliant people. It's different than a lot of other parts of the world where the Persian mind, the Persian history is very educated and very brilliant folks. They can rebuild that country. If you remember the 1979 Islamic Revolution, that took place from the young people. Well, you have half of the country is under the age of 35. And that's a very important distinction because none of them were around when the revolution were there. None of them they all know what the world is like without this oppression that the religious leaders currently give to them. And then you have this. You can have the internet and all the other trappings of the rest of the world, unlike North Korea. Remember, North Koreans don't really know that the rest of the world really exists. But Iran does. They can travel back and forth. They can go to different places. They have family all over the world. They know what is possible, and I expect an internal revolution. Look, regime change has never done well for the United States, at least not in the last 50 years. And I think we should be ashamed if we think that we're going to cause regime change. That has to come from inside.
Yeah, like you mentioned, this has been something going on for decades, not just the last 8 days between Iran and Israel. But we hope that since diplomacy did not work, the violence and what happened tonight may be the end of that. And as you mentioned, maybe there is a regime change and peace, hopefully, to come. Thank you so much, Arif Halaby, for joining us and for talking with us tonight on this.
Thank you, Julie.